Times when folks have headaches is because their bodies on the inside are not clean, and that kind of, you can say, like dirty blood circulating, because our blood circulates throughout our whole body, and when that blood can circulate to the head, it can give a headache because it's not clean. That's a very good question.
My second question was, if you took medicine to the doctor before we always discussed this.
I'm sorry, you have to start over.
If we took the medicine from the doctor and it was all finished and that actually helped us, and we took one of the cold and cleanse, would we take both or just choose the cold and cleanse?
Very good question. With one, I would, I'm not very big on the pharmaceutical drugs. Sometimes for some folks they may be necessary in emergency situations. With the colon cleanse herbs, sometimes if folks say it depends on what sort of medicine that one may take it with, but you may not want to take them at the same time. You may want to take them different times of the day, because if you take the colon cleanse herb, the colon cleanse after you've taken the medication, it can push the medication out, and so you're not going to, if one is taking those sort of pharmaceutical drugs, it can actually push it out the body, and so it's not going to really have, the medication is not going to have any benefit because the colon cleanse is pushing it out. So if one was taking medication, I would recommend that in terms of pharmaceutical drugs, from medical doctors, I think that's what you're saying, they would take them at different times of the day. They wouldn't take them at the same time. That's a very good question. Any more questions?
No.
No?
Question.
We had a
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, yes, ma'am.
We had a lecture at our daycare, and they recommend soy, and they really tell you that you could get off of meat and all those things and go all the time on soy.
Soy, like I say, too much soy isn't good for you, and if it's soy, it has to be like the fermented sort of soy products, like there's tofu, there's what's the other one?
Soy milk and
yeah, those. That's
all of that.
The chunks is from soy too.
yeah. Sometimes folks can overdo it with the soy,
Yeah.
because I know a lot of vegetarians and vegans that
Saying
drink.
that you could overdo. You could use soy instead of any other all the time.
No, that's not true. That's not the best. I wouldn't recommend that. For some folks that do so, I'm not big on the soy, just like I said, because of the phytoestrogens and the long-term effects of it. Because you have folks that overdo it. They'll do soy everything. They make soy grits.
Yeah.
Folks for breakfast, they'll have soy grits with soy sausage links, with scrambled tofu to imitate eggs, with a cup of soy milk.
And soybeans, everything.
Right, and then for lunch they'll have a soy burger, and the same thing with a cup of soy milk. Then they may cook something with soy flour, and then for lunch, for dinner, they want it. So they're overdoing it. Just like if you ate chicken or fish, whatever it is, 3 times a day, and maybe occasionally. And even when I went to China, so-called, even with meat, these folks, they eat all sorts of stuff that I don't eat. But when you look at how they eat, they would eat a majority of vegetables, and it'd be little slivers of whatever meat that they were eating in there. So it wasn't having as harmful effect. Where here, folks would have a 14-ounce steak with a piece of parsley on top, and throw the parsley away, and eat it with some mashed potatoes, and drink some alcohol with it, and go to sleep afterwards. And it's like the sleep is like a slow death, because they say sleep is the cousin of death, and with that food it really is. And so, no, I'm not a big fan of soy, because one, doesn't agree with me personally that well. Like soy milk has actually made me nauseous at different times. I've actually vomited things from directly, literally, I've eaten a meal and taken a sip of hot chocolate made with soy milk. And if it wasn't, I don't know how they make it. I mean, literally take one sip and all of that stuff comes up. So, soy all the time, replace soy with everything? No.
That's what she recommends.
I would recommend
Soy,
just...
no. Instead of...
Well, we'll do.
And like I said, I haven't eaten
Everything
meat.
has to do with the moderation.
Right. And for me, the only time, really, when I eat, like, if it's like a soy meat, because what happens is a lot of folks change from their old diet and want to still have that same sort of feel. So they want soy chicken, soy fish, soy steak, soy pork chops, even if they eat that, soy milk, soy this, soy that, soy that, where it's like, for me, the majority, like, folks ask me what I eat. You know, they're like, sure, you haven't eaten meat in 10 years. What do you eat? You know, I'm muscles, I have energy, I'm not all tired and sunken in and whatnot. And so for me, I eat mostly vegetables. In terms of protein, a lot of folks ask me, you know, if you don't eat meat, where are you going to get your protein from? You know, if you look at some of the largest animals out here, like gorillas and cows and whales, these are all vegetarian animals. Horses, bulls, they eat grass. They don't chase. They're actually chased by predators. And we don't eat predators like lions and tigers and bears and all that other stuff. Well, I mean, folks may eat bear meat or something, you know, somewhere. I don't know. But for the most part, most of the animals that folks consume are vegetarian animals. And so for me, I work to consume about 70% of my diet is vegetables. And then the other 30% as starch or protein and starch like brown rice or other sort of whole grains. And when I say protein, it's beans and peas and lentils, different sorts of nuts and berries and things like that, seeds, because those all have protein. And the thing about protein is that the protein has to break down to the amino acids. Like, if you eat a piece of chicken, that chicken isn't going to become a bicep. It has to break all the way down to the smallest particles, and then the body is able to rebuild with it. Those same particles are in beans and natural vegetable-based foods, but they don't have the saturated fat and the grease and all that stuff that clogs up. Matter of fact, it cleans the grease with the fiber. It cleans the grease out of the system and things like that. And so, like I said, the only time if I eat that stuff is when I, you know, go out to dinner to like a vegetarian restaurant or something like that. So, yeah. I'm not a big fan of soy at all. Like I said, the main thing is that it effeminizes the boys and makes the little girls even more. Yeah. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Yes. In connection with diabetes.
Yes.
What is the remedy, or let me see what you use for that? What?
We have a diabetes tea, which really gets in and helps to clean out the pancreas, things like that. Some of the other ways to help diabetes is losing some weight. Also some natural things for diabetes like fennel. Like, you know, the plant fennel. You can get like fennel oil or just the fennel itself. And basically the diabetes tea and just some other things like that, like fennel. Yeah, that's one of the main things I know that helps to lower the diabetes. Also, your real bitter herbs, like those real very, very bitter herbs. Those herbs, besides cleaning out the liver, also can help to clean out the pancreas. So bitter offsets sweet. Now, too much bitter can dry out the body and dry the skin and things like that. So you want to balance it out and not overdo it. You know, like brother here asked, how much is too much? You know, in the beginning, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, and as you begin to see your blood sugar regulate, you can begin to just keep it balanced with maybe.
So where the blood sugar is supposed to be when you, like, if you know, well, this is the level it's supposed to be, from what to what?
80 to 120. 80 over 120. 80 to 120.
Now, you're eating. what and what you're supposed to eat.
Just the starch, mostly is the starch, right?
Yeah, like the a lot of the processed foods, those like white flour
Right.
products, white sugar,